So I am not an AI guy by any means, but obviously AI is going to have and has already had a huge impact on pretty much everything, including, of course, the music industry. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 predictions for how I think AI will impact the music industry over the next several years. And there is some good news and there's some bad news, so stick around, let's get into it. All right, so here is prediction number 1. The production of songs and music in general is going to skyrocket. In honesty, this is less of a prediction and more just a statement of fact of what is happening. There are studies that have basically shown the amount of music being released into the world by ISRC code over the last decade, and it is just steadily going up step by step, year over year. 10 years ago, far fewer songs were being made. This year, far more songs are being made and released. This is not entirely due to AI. A lot of it has just been what I would call the democratization of music production over the last couple decades, as programs have made making music easier. Gear is so much cheaper. Now that music is made digitally, almost anybody can make music. And so this has been happening for 20, 30 years. But in the age of AI, it is only accelerating. And so there are just more and more songs being made. You can just put in a prompt and get a whole fully finished song. And then there are tools that let you mess around with sounds or do voice editing or whatever. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm not a great music production guy either. But I am adjacent to those worlds and in touch with them enough to know these tools are definitely going to make it way easier and faster to crank out music. And so you're already seeing that borne out in the world over the last few years. A ton of AI generated content, a ton more songs are being made. So that is fact/prediction number 1. Prediction number 2, and here is where things start to get a little bit scary. I think that all music that was previously on in the background or that didn't have a relational element to it is going to get swallowed up by AI-made music. So a very clear example of this is the microsync industry. So those libraries like Artlist is one.
Artlist is how you make videos today. Artlist is how you make videos today. Shut up!
There are a bunch of others where you can upload your songs to a library and then creators will use your songs in videos as little sync placements, and you can actually build a decent, or at least you could, build a decent little income from having all these micro sync placements like in YouTube videos or little corporate events videos or whatever, just if you had your songs in these micro sync libraries. Almost certainly over the next couple of years, this is going to be hugely disrupted because people will just be able to just auto-generate a little track that perfectly matches the video vibe that they're making and throw it behind the video, and that'll be it. There will be no demand for these microsync little jingles, little ambient pieces, whatever, that were previously a way that some artists made an income. But I think that that's only the beginning, and I think that almost any music that is on in the background is going to be hugely susceptible to this. So we're also seeing it with instrumental tracks on Spotify playlists. I've talked to people who make acoustic guitar music, and this is something where people listen to it in the background as a means of studying or whatever, and those artists who previously had 1 million monthly listeners are now having 100,000 monthly listeners, and seeing that all of the content on those lists is most likely AI generated. And again, shout out to the book Mood Machine by Liz Pelly that walks through this kind of scheme that Spotify is engaged in to contract these AI music production houses that are basically pumping out content that is more financially viable, by which it means Spotify doesn't have to pay those artists anything because they're basically made with AI. So yeah, basically, long story short, all those contexts on Spotify and on other streaming platforms where music was in the background are going to be heavily overtaken by AI music. I would say this even applies to genres like EDM or techno, where there is less of a relationship with the artist and it is more just a sound. I don't know. We'll see if that comes true or not. But my prediction is that in the next 3 to 5 years, it is much harder to make any sort of career with music that is primarily on in the background. And that brings me to my third and most hopeful prediction. I think that relational music is going to be more important than ever, and I am actually pretty hopeful that it will never be overtaken by AI. So just for full context on this, I have been kind of wigging out on AI lately. I read this essay called AI 2027 that I wish I had not read, that you should not read if you don't want to be freaked out about AI, but it's basically AI is going to take over the world within 2 or 3 years. And again, not an AI guy, do not know enough to have a valid opinion on it. But at the very least, it's been getting me to think about what can humans do that AI cannot do. And I do not profess to have all of the answers to that. But I think one of the truly human things is a person having a relationship with another person. And the reason I think this is hard to duplicate with AI is because it's not a right or wrong answer. Like, there is a right answer for what does a house song sound like, or what does an instrumental guitar song sound like. But there is no right answer for, I just experienced this really bad breakup and I want to tell you about my really bad breakup and I want to make you feel those same feelings. Like, that is a relational thing. It's not right or wrong. It just is the expression of a person's perspective. And so even if like AI can do that, I think there's always a place for people doing that, because what matters about that is the fact that it is a person expressing an emotion. Like, that is the value of the music, is that it's expressing the emotion of a person and showing their perspective. You can't optimize for that. And so I think as long as there are people to share their perspectives and emotions, there will be a place for relationally based music. And by that, I just mean any music that is intentionally sharing a perspective. The purpose of that music is to communicate with another person, not to just be on in the background. I think that will only be more important over the next several years as more and more things are automated. And I think if you want to build a career as an artist, that's probably the direction to go. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of that here, but it would be things like playing shows live in person and having a relationship in a Patreon or some sort of membership community. Those sorts of things where you're really building, again, relationship. So those are my predictions for how AI will impact the music industry. I don't know what's going to happen. I really hope that good things happen, and I hope that these things unleash more creativity in the world and don't just put a damper on everything. No matter how good AI gets at making music, it is still meaningful to make your music. The point of making a song has always been to express yourself and to communicate emotion to another person. Like, I'm not the best songwriter, I'm not the best guitar player, I'm not the best at anything. But it's still valuable for me to put my emotion into a song and then to have other people experience it. So this is part of why I think relational music won't die, but it's also just, I hope, encouragement to you. Even if AI can make an amazing dance track or the perfect pop song, there's still value in you making your art, and I don't think that will ever change. So here's wishing you good luck in making and marketing your music, as always, until the robot overlords take over the world, and that's only like kind of a joke, which is freaky. But yeah, wishing you good luck. As always, you got this.